We're talking training camp. We're talking the Kansas City Chiefs, and we are talking the running back position. We're talking about training camp darlings, the guys who are going to jump off of the field and into your psyche during the training camp process for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the running back position is an interesting position for the Kansas City Chiefs. You have Isaiah Pacheco, who is the starter, though I will add, tentatively. I think there's no reason to believe that Isaiah Pacheco won't make the roster, but I think it's possible that Isaiah Pacheco does not remain the starter during the entirety of the season. You have Kareem Hunt, who is obviously a fan favorite, and that's not really he's not in training camp darling status, right? Not that territory. He is more of just a fan favorite, leaving really just two players to be candidates for training camp darlings for the Kansas City Chiefs. Two legitimate players, two legitimate shots here to be training camp darlings if you don't count Carson Steele. And I think we're all kind of on the assumption that Carson Steele has a very slim chance to make the roster. But these two players are interesting because they are going to be doing basically, we would assume, the same kind of thing in this offense, despite the fact that the first player has never really proven he can do this in an offense at the NFL level. This in question is be an electric wide receiver from the running back position. Obviously, we're talking about Brashard Smith in this video as well, but we have to start with a guy who has been a little bit of a forgotten member of the running back crew in Elijah Mitchell. And what we're looking at is Elijah Mitchell's RAS as he was coming out of college. A 9.5 grade. That is an absolutely elite grade here. Now, the only thing that held him down was his measurables. He is 5'10", which is under 50 percentile. He is 201 pounds, which isn't bad, but it's still a low grade. 17 reps on the bench press. Now, the 201 is so... It's interesting because it's not the lightest running back weight in the NFL, right? Brashard Smith is lighter even than Elijah Mitchell. But it's light enough to be a concern. It's not too light to play the position. It's running back has been such a weird position to watch develop in the NFL over the past couple of years. 37.5-inch vertical leap, 10-foot 8-inch broad jump, great explosive numbers there. Then a 4.35 40-yard dash. That is a score of 9.9. A 4.35 as a running back. Now here's the interesting thing. A 10-yard split of 1.51. That's a 9.7. That's an elite score, but it's not as elite as his 4.35 40-yard dash. However, his 20-yard split of 2.44 is in the 99.9th percentile. It is a 9.99 grade. So someone who accelerates after the 10-yard mark and then decelerates after the 20-yard mark. So very interesting 40-yard dash there for Elijah Mitchell, but that 4.35 40-yard dash is incredible. A 4.2 short shuttle, which is good for around the 77th percentile. A three-cone drill of 6.94, which is an elite score in the 8.07 score range. Now, stop me if you've heard this one before, but if Mitchell is healthy, he'll be special in this offense. I did get that, so I'll get there in a minute. But he's a very interesting player because of his explosiveness. He does have good agility numbers. He's never proven he can be a receiver in the NFL. He gets hurt a lot. But he is a tough runner. He breaks a tackle every 13.6 carries. By comparison, Isaiah Pacheco breaks a tackle every 24.1 carries. He breaks nearly twice as many tackles per carry as does Isaiah Pacheco. Even Kareem Hunt, the power back that he is, only breaks a tackle every 15 carries. So he's breaking more tackles per carry even than Kareem Hunt. He has not proven to be a receiving threat, but he's not played with Patrick Mahomes either. That can do things for you. This is his stat line in the NFL. In his rookie season, he played 11 games, started 10 of them, had 207 carries for 963 yards, scoring 5 touchdowns along the way. That is a great stat line, especially for a rookie, but that has been the high point of his career. His sophomore season in the NFL was in 2022, where he had 45 carries, 279 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Comparatively, a weak season, but if you're not the starting running back, those aren't terrible numbers. And then in 2023, he played in 11 games with 1 start, had 75 carries, 281 yards, another couple of touchdowns. Now, you may have noticed something. That something being the 2024 season does not appear here. He did not play in 2024 due to injuries, but over the course of his career, he has 327 carries for 1,523 yards and 9 touchdowns. He is a guy that when he's on the field and he has the ball in his hands, he can be productive. He's also very fast. So in training camp, you're going to notice Elijah Mitchell. Now, the interesting thing about this position with this video, the training camp darlings, is that both of these players are doing the same thing. Now, the second player is obviously Brashard Smith. I think there is a 0% chance that Brashard Smith is not on the active roster come week 1. I think that he's absolutely making the 53-man roster this season. I think that it will become apparent very fast that he's going to be on the 53. That does not mean that Elijah Mitchell will not be. Again, when we look at these numbers, if he is healthy, this is an elite athlete. Absolutely elite. Going to be difficult to keep a guy like that off the roster if he's healthy. Brashard Smith is going to be doing the very same things, except for the fact that he has proven himself on a football field as a receiver, not at the NFL level, but as a receiver in the sport of football. Very high-level football the first 3 years he was in college. Here is his RAS score, a 7.21, not the elite 9.5 of Elijah Mitchell, but he's undersized, 5'9" and 7/10, basically 5'10", 194 pounds, so 7 pounds lighter than Elijah Mitchell, around the same height. A 32.5-inch vertical, which is extremely confusing because that is a terrible vertical leap. But when you look at him on film, he is an explosive guy. 9'9" broad jump is right in the middle of where things are. A 4.39 40-yard dash, a 9.75 score there. A 2.57 20-yard split is good for a 9.19 score, and his 10-yard split of 1.54 is good for a 9.03. All of those scores are elite. Ran the short shuttle in 4.28, which is good for a 6.68 score. No 3-cone drill. We have already had hints of Brashard Smith being a terror downfield for Patrick Mahomes. We saw this in minicamp. So the versatility that he will provide as far as alignments and motions, etc., are concerned is going to keep defensive coordinators up at night. Why is that? He has this elite turn on a dime speed. So does Elijah Mitchell. So if you can get a myriad of motions from different formations, what happens is every little bit that player moves around behind the line of scrimmage prior to the snap might or might not change who has him in coverage. Andy Reid loves that sort of thing. We saw when Tyreek Hill was in Kansas City, you saw some really fast behind the line motions. Not the sort of, well, let me get to this other place on the field and get set. No. Let me get across the field really fast to confuse the defense as to whose responsibility I am. You saw that resurrected with Xavier Worthy. Now you have Xavier Worthy, you have Brashard Smith, you have Elijah Mitchell, you have Hollywood Brown, you have all these guys that have absolutely elite speed that can run. Now, only one at a time, right? This isn't Canadian football. But when you have that many very fast players on the field, what you can do is in the same formation on different plays, a different player goes in motion, which causes havoc because if you're a linebacker and you have the zone right behind you and you see a player motioning from here, you know what your zone is, but you don't know which man is most likely to be in it because you have this very fast motion. You do not cover grass in a zone scheme. You cover a man in a zone scheme. If that man is in your zone, you cover him. You don't just run around in the grass. That doesn't make any sense. So the speed at this position and the wide receiver position in Andy Reid's hands, as far as motions are concerned, is going to be absolutely wild. And this might be a bit of a point that I shouldn't have put in this video because I don't think that we're going to see it in training camp. I don't think they're going to put all of this on display before the season. Now, just like everybody thought Josh Simmons was a top 15 talent and Jalen Royals was a second-round talent, Brashard Smith, most often, from my experience, my observations, was pegged as a 4th or 5th round guy based on that speed and play-making ability. So this was a very, very good value pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have here in this last point here what he did at the college level. And those first 3 years there where he was at Miami, he was a wide receiver, didn't really show up in the stats. 14 receptions as a freshman, 33 receptions as a sophomore, and 22 receptions as a junior. Decent productivity, but nothing that really stood out. Then he transferred to SMU, and he became a running back where he got 235 carries, went for 1,332 yards, which is a 5.7 yard average, and scored 14 touchdowns. Scored 14 touchdowns. You throw in the fact that he had the most receptions of his career while playing running back, not wide receiver, at 39 receptions, and he only averaged 8.4 yards per reception, but 327 yards total, and he added another 4 touchdowns as a receiver out of the backfield. All told, his junior year, technical senior year at SMU, he had 274 touches, 1,659 yards for a 6.1 yard average whenever he had his hands on the ball, and 18 touchdowns. Brashard Smith and Elijah Mitchell are going to be counted on to do some of the same things in this offense, assuming that they are both healthy, assuming they are both able to contribute. And the only question is, whether or not Elijah Mitchell can do enough to make the Chiefs carry 4 running backs as opposed to 7 wide receivers. 4 running backs as opposed to 4 tight ends. Whatever the actual math ends up being. If Elijah Mitchell can put himself in position to win, in position to be one of those 53 players, because I don't think he lasts on the practice squad. even if it's only because someone wants to see if he's healthy, he will get snatched off the practice squad in a heartbeat. It's going to be interesting to see what happens between these two players, but they're both going to look absolutely incredible in training camp. So those are the running backs to watch as far as the training camp situation is concerned. If you like or appreciate this sort of thing, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.